Recently, the Wall Street Journal ran an op-ed that suggested demand for green energy and electric vehicles could peak sooner than fossil fuels. This is a bit of an inflammatory statement to climate extremists who believe the world should and will run completely on solar and wind with no additions of nuclear or use of carbon capture. Climate realists understand that the world is going to use more energy because developing countries want to increase living standards. As realists, we know that using natural gas to displace coal is our single most effective way to reduce emissions, that we need to use a lot more nuclear and invest in new technologies like carbon capture, which can suck CO2 out of the air and bury it permanently underground. Opponents of carbon capture think that it'll reduce the urgency around reducing emissions. This is a flawed argument. Cost-effective emissions reduction in any form is worth doing. China is not going to change its coal consumption just because someplace else on the planet there are facilities sucking some of the CO2 out of the atmosphere that the Chinese are pumping in every day. Electric vehicle or EV sales are flattening. Tesla is cutting prices and still seeing slowing growth. Elon Musk is one of the most impactful figures around today. I'm not making a bet on Tesla either way, and I certainly wouldn't short Elon Musk. But maybe they've run through most of the people who are early adopters and rich enough to have another car because it's fun. My circle of friends is probably not representative of the country as a whole. The people I know who own a Tesla love it, but they all have another car for long journeys. For my part, I just can't get past the charging. They're great for running around town, but a longer journey requires planning. You need to be sure there's a charging station. And unless you can charge overnight, you better be prepared to wait half an hour or so while it recharges, assuming you can find a charging station that is working. I just don't see the point of subjecting myself to such an inconvenience. I'm a late adopter with new things. I only switched to an iPhone from an Android 2 years ago, so maybe I'm not the best example, but new things are supposed to make life easier. When that's true with EVs, I'll take a closer look. As far as whether they're better for the planet, well, China is the world's biggest EV market and also consumes over half the world's coal. China's EVs generally run on electricity generated by burning coal. Don't let anybody fool you that China has a good story to tell on climate change. Their actions are most consistent with energy security. They possess a lot of the minerals needed for solar power, and they produce 90% of the coal they burn in their own country. They're using more solar and coal. China's growing EV market is not obviously good for the planet. EVs also need a lot more of certain key minerals than conventional cars. They typically use more than twice as much copper and manganese, along with nickel, cobalt, and lithium that conventional cars don't require. EVs are fun, but don't confuse that with being good for the planet. Maybe that's what Exxon and Chevron have figured out with their recent acquisitions. Maybe EVs will peak before fossil fuels. If you're interested in learning more about the energy sector and interest rates, then don't forget to subscribe and follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter. Our handles are in the description box below. To find out more about what we're thinking, you can sign up for our twice-weekly blog at sl-advisors.com. We always love to hear from you, so if you have any comments or blog ideas, please leave them down below. I'm Simon Lack. Thank you for watching this video.